And I'm thinking right here, right now, we should talk about some comic books that you could get that are affordable, but that are still keys. A lot of members like to read their comics, and we're all about that. Some members like to spec on comics, spend a lot of money on comics. We like that too. But here's the thing. There is a medium. There's a part within that where you're paying a lot of money, and you don't have to pay very much money at all to enjoy it, to enjoy the collectible, and to add to your comic collecting. So I thought this would be a fun time to talk about just 10 undervalued books that you can find on the hunt, probably for under a couple bucks. But the rule for these ones were like $10 keys and under. And I want to chat about them, especially because we have a Green Lantern specialist on the mic today. So we're going to talk about some of the Green Lantern books.
I'm officially a specialist.
You are, dude. I mean, whenever I have a Green Lantern
school and everything.
Dude, who do I call if I ever have a Green Lantern thing to talk about? What ends up happening?
Call Jeff Johns.
That's right. I call Jeff Johns. I'm like, yo, Jeff, what do I do? And he's like, you need to call FireGuyRyan. You know this already. Yeah. I don't know enough.
He's told you enough times. Just skip the call. Call me instead.
That's right. So what we're going to do is chat about some comic books right here, right now. $10. And let's find them. Here we go. Boom. We're going to start them off with this one right here. All right. So we got, let's see here, $10 comics. All right. So they aren't in any particular order because they're all could be found for under $10. And I got to tell you, this first one right here, I have found so many damn times for $1. This is Tim Drake, first in the Robin Classic costume. Easy book that you can find in high grade in dollar bins. People miss it all the time. And Tim Drake will be in the upcoming season 3 of Titans.
Okay.
And he's already been cast. So it's one of those.
Is he the one who did the thing with the wheels on the Batmobile? Is that him? Somebody took the wheels off the Batmobile one time when Batman was out doing stuff. I don't know.
Let me know,
Batman
comic
stuff.
fam. I'm gonna forget that in this moment.
I just
I'm
love
not
the
sure
way
about
this
that.
cover looks, like how his cape blends into the logo there.
You know why you like it?
That.
It's because it's George Perez. So on top of it being a fantastic George Perez cover, we also have him in a very big key moment in the run. And also, I want to throw out there that, although it's a little bit more expensive, we did have a member send in via Comic Karma last show, issue 436 of Batman, which is the first Tim Drake. And that book's also spiking after the announcement that in season 3 of Teen Titans, we're going to see this character. So big ups to Batman 442. I think this is a great book to be on the hunt for.
That means the only Robin that's not.
It was
in that
Jason
show.
Todd. Jason Todd was the one who did the.
Okay.
And you know what? Who was the first person to say that? Oh. Nope. There we go. There we go. All right.
Of course,
so
it's the hardest one to spell.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the person.
Cool.
What's that say? Themisadra Comics. Oh man, I did not say that right.
Sorry, nobody knows how to say
Okay,
it.
hey, congratulations. Congratulations, you won another comic book. All right, let's keep this going, though, because we have some more to talk about. All right, Ryan, take it over. We have Green Lantern 10.
Hey, yes, we do.
This is actually the second print. There's 2 prints. So you have a first print right here.
First print right here.
So you have the first print, and then you have the second print to spec on. And specifically, the second print goes for a little bit more. But what can you tell us about this one?
This one is the first appearance of Arquilo. Maybe the first appearance of the Sinestro Corps?
Yeah, first appearance of Sinestro Corps. That's what it says.
How do you begin to describe this stuff? Sinestro Corps, I guess Sinestro is like Green Lantern's arch nemesis, right? And he has the yellow ring. He's got his own army, which he starts building in this issue. And I think if you're thinking about the Green Lantern show that's coming out on HBO, that might not be a bad... I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about it all the time.
I think Blackest Night is it's tough to imagine that they are not going to try to find a way to do that. That's like akin to the Infinity Gauntlet.
That's what I think. Yeah, it's something that like it makes sense as a end game kind of, if you will, like at the end of the line. Like you build up to Blackest Night. The way they should do it is take the time to establish all of the different color cores that arise throughout the entirety of Jeff Johns' run. The first one of which is the Sinestro Corps, starting here in issue 10. A good one.
That's right. And we know based off of the recent solicitations, not solicitations, but the synopsis of what's coming, that they're going to be taking us through a timeline that features Alan Scott, the first Golden Age Green Lantern.
Right.
Clear through
Guy Gardner. They cast
Gardner.
Guy Gardner, the little pretty boy from American Horror Story, is going to play
He's
Guy
awesome,
Gardner.
dude. He's going to be a great Guy Gardner.
Did not see that coming, but I'm cool with that. I'm down with that.
I'm down with it too, man. All right, let's keep it.
They started to do this in the Green Lantern movie last time. Like the end credit scene was Sinestro getting a yellow ring, and it was clear that they were going to do Sinestro Corps War, which is kind of like the first major Green Lantern event that happens in the Jeff Johns run. That's probably what they were going to do in the sequel.
Right.
If it ever happened, but it didn't.
All right, this next one on the list, X-Men 248. We're talking about $10 keys, comic fam. Keep an eye on those dollar bins. We have one that you're going to be super surprised could be acquired for under $10. Doesn't it feel criminally underpriced that the first Jim Lee on X-Men is such a cheap book?
I wouldn't know, like I look at this and it doesn't like scream Jim Lee to me.
It doesn't, but once you do know.
Once you know, you can see it. In Colossus's face.
Jim Lee to X-Men is akin to me, Chris Claremont to X-Men. You know what I mean? Like Chris Claremont's name is tethered, it's tied to the run.
I disagree, but I know what you mean.
I mean, not to the same. I wouldn't obviously. It's like Chris Claremont created a lot of these characters.
Sure.
But like Jim Lee's his like time
iconic,
spent.
I guess. Yeah.
He's definitely one. I would say easily one of the 5 most known.
When you think of X-Men, you think of the Jim Lee version.
Era, you know what I'm saying? Like
Sure.
what he does and what he means for the run. Considering X-Men keys are skyrocketing across the board, and I'm talking like not just giant size, not just first appearance of various mutants. I'm talking about moments in X-Men history. The first Avengers versus the first time X-Men meet the Avengers in X-Men #9, for example. Okay. Or you take a look at issue 100, which made the hot list this past week. The first time the old X-Men is fighting up against the new X-Men. Like these event types of books, they're momentous for a reason. And we have Jim Lee on the X-Men title going for under $10. If you don't grab this for under $5 every single time you see it, I don't know what the comic fam's doing.
Green Lantern 28. That's the next one on the list. This is the first appearance of Atrocitus.
That's right.
He is the leader of the Red Lantern Corps. And if you got the Green Lanterns who are kind of fueled by willpower, the Red Lanterns are fueled by the wearer's rage and like anger. So they're a very aggressive, bad group of people, and aliens mostly, and one cat. Atrocitus.
There is a cat.
There is a cat who, yes, is a very angry cat on the Red Lanterns, and he's freaking awesome. I want to find out what his first appearance is. I should learn this. I don't know this. I don't think in first appearance terms. But this is the first appearance of Atrocitus. And if they are going to build up to Blackest Night in an HBO show, they will need to introduce all of these various color cores. And Atrocitus is, if they're going to do Red Lanterns, they're going to have this guy. So
there you go.
Also, he's just really cool. Looks like Hellboy.
This next one here, Star Wars Force Awakens #1. This is a fun one because I'm not a huge Star Wars fan. I'll be straight. But when I saw that this goes for under $10, first Kylo Ren, son of Han Solo, Princess Leia, of course.
Sure.
First Rey, which I know and a lot of people didn't care for as a character. I thought she was pretty cool. Super smart engineer, right? Also, first appearance of Finn, the Rogue Stormtrooper. These are 3 major characters for anyone who's recently getting into Star Wars, which as someone who is, those are the 3 people that I know kind of more than others. Like obviously I've seen the other movies, but like the ones that are like most memorable to me over the last few new movies, their first appearance in an adaptation goes for under $10. I think this is a great book for under $10. If you can find it, grab it.
Why not?
It's one that I didn't even know, and it's these types of books that end up taking off long term. You never know how these characters would, are going to be appearing in future movies, but specifically one, Kylo Ren seems like he's here to stay. He
was
definitely
like
the coolest
character in that,
right?
In the new trilogy. Yeah,
that's how I felt.
Kylo Ren, man.
Okay, moving on. Here we go. Number 38, but the second print in particular.
The second print of this. Yeah, this is the
We're talking about Green Lantern, issue number 38, the second print.
Green Lantern 38, second print, has Hal Jordan as a Red Lantern on the cover.
That's right. He's got like red coming out of his mouth, it almost looks like.
There's Atrocitus, by the way, on the right-hand side.
That's him.
Big, scary-looking dude. So the Red Lanterns like shoot napalm vomit out of their mouth. That's like one of their weird attacks. That's what he's doing there. This is a series, a time in this run when Hal Jordan was kind of trying on different colored rings.
Yeah, he was wearing a bunch of different ones. So this isn't actually like a major moment, more like just a cool situation that he's on the cover in red.
Right. Various people have worn the Red Lantern. Like Guy Gardner becomes a Red Lantern at one point. Supergirl has a Red Lantern ring for a while. Right after this, Hal Jordan wears a Blue Lantern ring. He's worn the yellow one a bunch of times. This one's just cool because the Red Lanterns are fun.
Right.
I like this one. I didn't know the second print looked like this. The first printing is a lot more boring.
I think this is one of those ones where if you're, if you have like a Green Lantern completionist or someone who's really into these particular characters, they're going to see this and be like, oh, a second print did this? Yeah, I'm going to buy it. And at the same time, you're going to have other members going, who wants second prints? Why would I ever want a second print? And then you're going to go, oh, yeah, point in case, made. Next one. We have Hawkeye #1, first solo series featuring Kate Bishop.
Look at that, written by Kelly Thompson.
That's right.
We were Silver Coin #2.
Talking about Kelly Thompson.
All goes full circle, man.
Full circle. This is dope. She's on the cover. We know she's coming. We're gonna, we have Young Avengers spec on high gear. We're paying attention. Everyone else is. And there's a handful of these like first in their own solo series books that are going for under $10. And look at what Miles Morales did.
Sure.
Like his first in his own solo series. Will all these get to be like that? Absolutely not. Miles Morales is in a different category altogether. He's one of the biggest characters of our generation. Bendis, of course.
Of course.
But for under $10 for a character that's going to absolutely going to be on Disney Plus.
She's already been in Endgame, right? Like she was getting. She's Hawkeye's daughter in the movie or something.
It's gonna happen. Got to keep it going. Next one,
Ooh.
Green Lantern 39. We have the orange-wearing Beast.
Right. Like I was saying before, if they're going to do Blackest Night in a show, they're going to need to introduce the leaders of every color corps that gets introduced in the Green Lantern run.
Sure.
This here is the first full appearance of Larfleeze, the only Orange Lantern, because their power is like based around greed and hoarding stuff.
See how he's hoarding the lantern?
He
He's
doesn't even
holding
let it go. Yeah,
Yeah.
It just makes you always want. It makes you always hungry, and you're never like satisfied, and it's really freaky. This whole story arc is really kind of scary, but he's cool. He's actually a weird source of comic relief in this run, so I'd be interested to see if they ever do adapt this guy to live action. My life will be complete.
This is one of those books that, yes, you can secure for under $10, and you'll be also surprised to know that they do sell for upwards of $20. You go on eBay, you'll see people who are looking for it right here, right now for a high-grade copy. They're willing to pay $20. They'll just fork out the money. However, auctions, $5, $8. Dollar bin books. These are at shows. Look for these books, Comic Fam. You're talking to a Green Lantern specialist here on the mic today, and he is pulling out books from his own run that he didn't even realize were the first. He's like, this is the first appearance? I guess it is. I mean, like, because it's not always about knowing like what keys you are. There's like, how many comics are in this one run? Like this is like issue number 39.
It goes up to like 60 or something. By you go through Blackest Night and Brightest Day, and
right,
it's a whole thing.
All right, this next one, this is a fun one. I've been waiting, and Angela. We're talking about Guardians of the Galaxy #5, first appearance of Angela in the Marvel Universe. That's her on the cover. Later to be revealed as Thor's sister. But the history of Angela began with Neil Gaiman back in the day doing work on Spawn 9 with Todd McFarlane. And this was when Todd was recruiting a ton of different creators during this time on the run to be part of the comics to really give it a boost. And this would take on just lawsuits after lawsuits, who owns the character, and decades would go by, and it was a ruckus. It was a ruckus for both creators, and it would end up in Neil Gaiman's favor, which would then be sold to Marvel, and that's why we have Angela over at Marvel. Hasn't really been utilized to her fullest extent, but considering how much damn money went into this character and where she landed over at Marvel, and she's Thor's sister, I can't help but scoff that this is like a $5 book.
It feels like a waste, right? Like, I remember she came on board and they revealed that there was a 10th realm in Asgard with heaven, and Angela was an angel from heaven, and it just kind of, maybe she pops up more in the Thor book, maybe more in this Guardians run, but I have not seen a lot of her since this Bendis Guardians run from like 2014, 2015.
All right, and we have to end our list today with Green Lantern 43. This is such a dark comic book. It's a awesome key. I think the last one sold for $4 on eBay.
That's insane, because this is like the origin of Black Hand, who is kind of like the main villain of the whole Blackest Night storyline. And he's just scary on so many different levels. Like, he's in love with death. Not like Thanos, Or Thanos loves like a Lady Grim Reaper. This guy like sleeps in open graves, and like his first kiss was with a dead body, and his suit is made out of like body bag material, whatever that black leather, that creepy black plastic.
He doesn't smell well.
No, and you can see his hand right here; it's all rotten. He's on Bruce Wayne's grave. Like, just thinking about it, man.
It gives you heebie-jeebies, man.
This is one of the freakiest, creepiest, scariest like single issues of any comic I've read.
You hear that, comic fam? One of the single creepiest comic books that Ryan's ever read. Let's show it one more time on the screen. We're talking about Green Lantern 43. And and you mentioned it. This is a key book because Black Hand becomes the Black Lantern. He's obsessed with
one of them anyway.
The dead. That's right. One of the Black Lantern. Comic fam, $10 or cheaper books. A lot of these have second printings you can keep an eye out for. We showed you a couple of them. However, some of those do sell for more, so I kind of X those from the list. I wanted to keep it to consistent sales that are under $10 or sales that have hit 20, but then I'm like, oh, well, auctions are putting these at like $5 or $6 too. If you're patient, you're using your eBay search, hit that heart that's right by the search link, and you'll be notified when something comes up, and you can try and get it when other people aren't watching.
That's the other thing with something like Green Lantern. The closer it gets to that show, the more these books are going to get hard to find, and the more they're going to jump up in price.
That's right.
There is a time factor that you got to factor in when you are looking for comics.